Hey Manual staff, it's Chris. I know it's so hard to think about next year as we're right now just winding up this school year, and yet it'll be upon us before we know it. And so I wanted to provide a list of opportunities we have for summer planning this summer, both paid and collaborative planning, before you head out for the summer. And so this screencast will give you an overview of the opportunities that you'll have in front of you over the next couple weeks and months. The place to start is this Manual Summer Planning Form. This form will guide you through a number of questions that will give you an overview of the different programs we have to offer. And so I'm just going to kind of go through this with you because there's a couple of programs here that I'm really excited about. I'll just demo this. So the first one is a staff retreat. So on August 11th and 12th, we'll be heading to the Nature Place, which is west of Colorado Springs, for a staff retreat. Now, this isn't necessarily a mandatory retreat. We know that there are sometimes family obligations. And at the same time, it's highly recommended because there's going to be so much team building and connection that happens on this retreat that we know that those who are unable to attend might feel like, oh man, I missed out on that amazing opportunity. Now, we will build in time for those who do not attend to connect with the staff during our first week back together in August, August 15th. But this retreat prior to that will be a great time as a whole staff to connect. And so this just gives an idea of who's going on the retreat. If you are or are not willing to share a room with a staff member, don't feel obligated to do so. We just would love for people to share if they're comfortable so that as many people on staff can attend if possible. And so again, I'm just going to go through this so you can see the next pieces here. The next part of this is summer planning. And so teachers have an opportunity to get paid for 3 full days, so 3 times 8 hours or 24 hours of planning over the summer. This is optional. You don't have to do this. We also know that your time is precious and you should be paid for the planning time you'll spend. And so this is an opportunity to get paid for that. So all you'll need to do is indicate if you would like to opt into summer planning, and then there's some information about the deadlines, and I'll get into the deliverables for that summer planning here. So this is very important. If you'd like to get paid for your summer planning, just indicate yes here, and we'll make sure that your time gets counted towards some payback, which is really valuable. Another cool opportunity we'll have this summer, August 4th and 5th, we'll be doing a project planning workshop, either here at Manual, depending on construction, or somewhere nearby. This is a time for you just to dream big. A couple weeks before students come back, to think about some projects and experiences you want to put in front of students, and to get feedback from your colleagues. I've reached out to some COLF teachers as well. I will say that I think there needs to be a critical mass of about 5 to 6 teachers here. So if we don't get that many people who want to opt into this planning workshop and feedback workshop, that's fine. We'll try it again at some further point. But this is a really cool opportunity to come together, to dream big, to use the design principles of project-based learning, to think about authentic, real-world, engaging experiences that you want to provide for students and with students in your class for the first semester of next school year, 22-23. So again, just indicate here if you want to participate in that optional planning workshop. I'll facilitate that, and depending on who says that they're in, I might also ask for some co-facilitation and some thinking with other teachers as well. Again, more details to come on this based on how many people will be deciding to attend that workshop. So I'm going to attend, yes. Moving on, another one is new teacher orientation. This would be Wednesday, August 10th, so the day before we leave for the staff retreat. And so just indicate here if you're a new staff member coming in, first year at Manual, and you're able to attend, just click yes, I'm planning on attending the new staff orientation, or you're returning staff, or you're new but you just cannot attend. But I plan on attending, so I'll click that. And that is all the information that I need, that we need initially to kind of get the ball rolling on summer planning for next year. Now, in this email as well, you're going to see another huge link, which is to your teacher planning portfolio. So for teachers who opted into the paid summer planning, these are the deliverables that you'll need to complete by August 5th. Now, I want to make a note that all teachers will have to complete these. So teachers who do not opt into summer planning will have to squeeze this work in during our first week back on starting on August 15th, because we will be doing another community feedback and co-planning workshop with alumni and students and parents sometime during that first week back. So everyone is going to have to make this happen and get this done. It's just that those who opt into summer planning can do so throughout the whole summer and won't have to kind of shoehorn it in while we're doing all kinds of new staff orientation as well. And so though the link to that planning portfolio will take you here, and I'll actually back up. So you were sent a link to this folder right here, which is teacher planning portfolios. So in here, all the teams are indicated, and so you can find your name in one of these specific folders, and this is where it'll take you to your own personalized teacher planning portfolio. And so I'm going to go to the electives team. I think I'll be teaching a class next year, and so I'll click on my teacher planning portfolio. And these are the deliverables that you'll need by August 5th. And again, I'll send out a calendar invite for those deliverables as well. So everything here is linked. There's going to be 6 clear deliverables for the summer. The first on page 1 is what I call pre-planning filters. This is prior to any instruction being planned whatsoever. And so this is just a series of questions around relevance, rigor, student choice and voice, and collaboration that you'll kind of think about before you start your planning. And at Manual, we really think about this idea of if it doesn't clear these filters of relevance, rigor, choice and voice, and collaboration, then we have to go back to the drawing board. These are non-negotiable. These are essentials in our teaching here at Manual. So this is where you'll start and respond to, in this space, how you will kind of make sure that your instruction goes through those 3 filters. The second one here is a standards breakdown. This is the typical know, show, and do chart. And so what is the standard? You'll put the verbiage of the standard right up here. And then you'll talk about what students have to know in that standard. So what's the actual content of the standard that's outlined, and then how will they show what they know? What will they do? And then I put here, different than last year, is what assessments will be used to identify their growth over time on this standard. You don't have to feel obligated to put all of your standards, of course. This could be 1, 2, 3 power standards, things that you know you're really going to focus on throughout the year. And it might be really smart to align those to your SLO as well. And so this is just making sure we are doing our due diligence to know the verbiage and skills embedded in the standards and how students will express their learning throughout. The third page is the Big Idea Planner. This is going to be the real heavy work for the summer. This is really thinking about and backwards mapping what you're going to be doing in your class throughout the entire semester. Now, I do want to note for some electives teachers, there are quarter classes. I totally understand that. Feel free to modify and amend if you're teaching on the quarter because you have electives courses. Totally fine. Just for the bulk of teachers, they will be on the semester schedule, so I put that here as semester. And so this kind of, you can go through each of these boxes, but in the white space here, you'll see where you'll need to make sure that you are thinking about all the details of your instruction and how you're planning for MLLs, SPED students, and how we're aligning to making sure that our Black Excellence and Latinx Excellence students are accounted for and thought through throughout the planning process. It also asks to backwards plan your assessments and to link them in here. So what assessments are you going to be using to gauge student progress? I want to note here too that next year we will not be asking for teacher lesson plans, and so the detail and feedback that you'll get on this is going to be really essential. So making sure the assessments are linked in, clearly delineated, and backwards mapped will be a priority, just so teachers or just so administrators and team leads can see really what your instruction looks like the whole semester. Page 4 is just a general calendar. I have the dates here on the left side of the screen. This does not have to be super detailed. It's just a kind of a map of where you're going throughout the semester. And then the page art deliverable 5 is the first 2 weeks of the week at a glance. Now I said we're not going to collect lesson plans. We're not. We are going to do the first 2 weeks just to make sure that the first 2 weeks start out as strong as possible. So week at a glance are your your lesson plans for those 2 weeks after we return. And then the last part of this deliverable is post-planning reflection questions. I've connected all the research to these questions here as well. But these are really going to push you to think about what you're putting in front of students. So it's really important that you answer these questions thoroughly. These are not questions that you can save to the last minute and get through with any sort of thorough thinking at all. So I really want to make sure that you see that these 5 questions are pretty intense. They'll make you think thoroughly about your instruction and about why you're putting in front of students. And I really suggest that you spend quite a bit of time making sure that these questions are answered in detail. And like I said, I believe I'll be teaching a class next year. It's kind of to be determined, so maybe Serena and I will be co-teaching, and I plan on doing this work over the summer as well. And I know that it'll take quite a bit of time, so I wanted to make sure that that's put out in front of you before the summer begins. Now, you do not have to feel obligated to start this now. The 6 deliverables, if you opt into summer planning, will not be due until June 5th. That gives STLs and APs 3 days to provide feedback prior to leaving on the staff retreat. And we'll dive back into our lesson plans and our big plans when we come back together on August 15th. So August 5th would be the due date for these deliverables. That's kind of the overview of summer planning. So again, make sure you start with the summer planning form. Find your teacher planning portfolio. If it is not in there, excuse me, that is not something that I intended to do. It's just the end of the year and I am tired. I think everyone is in there as well and updated for our staff for 22-23. And as always, please reach out if you have any questions or concerns or need clarity around this. I'll be checking email kind of off and on throughout the summer, and definitely will have my phone on me. If you have any questions, just don't hesitate to call or text, and I'll leave that phone number in the email that you get about these resources. So again, I wanted to get these out before we left for the school year. Come find me if you have questions, and I so appreciate the work you have done and certainly the work we will do together as a manual team heading into 2022-2023.